Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Hear the Watchman. Now, we're coming at you audio only again today. And I want to thank all the people that have commented and sent me emails saying how great the audio only version is of the show, which we have to do this time of the year because of the weather up here in the mountains of Idaho. It's just been snowing for 4 days. It's impossible to get a good signal. But if we do it audio only, we seem to come through clear. So I appreciate your support. Today on the show, we have my dear friend, probably my best friend, brother in Christ, Mr. L.A. Marzulli. L.A., thank you for joining us today.
Hey, best friend Mike, always good to hear your voice. And looking forward to the Hear the Watchmen conference where we can both get into some warmer weather, hopefully. And, the lineup there is incredible. And, folks, it's just, without trying to hype, I mean, this is like one of the kickoff conferences of the year. It'll be a great conference. And if you don't have tickets, hearthewatchman.com and check it out.
Well, thank you for that, L.A. You know, it is, folks. It's truly is a life-changing experience for people. So get out there, use the discount code LA20, LA20. That'll get you $20 off the purchase of your ticket, 20% off the streaming feature that's available on the site. Again, just go to hearthewatchman.com, MEN.com. LA, I wanted to talk to you today about some stuff that's going on in the world that's rather upsetting. And you actually did a show, Acceleration Radio, folks. Great show. You can find it on YouTube. He has video on his, but you can go to YouTube. Just Google. I just Google L.A. Marzulli YouTube, and it comes up top hit. But you did a show where you talked about a couple of topics that I want to cover today. One of which is in light of what has come out with the owner of the Patriots and what happened down in Florida, where he is accused, he's not convicted, but he's accused of uh, going to see prostitutes, basically. But it brought to light this amazing network of sex trafficking that we're seeing in the country today. What do you think about that? What's your read on all that?
Well, I honestly think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think, and we've heard about this for years, that the Super Bowl is completely immersed in sex trafficking and prostitution. It's one of the hallmarks of the Super Bowl. Now, all that's under the radar, and it's a playground for the rich and famous and those who are looking for that. It gets back into Epstein's sex island, whatever they called it, pleasure island, and he did some time in jail, which was just a slap on the wrist, just a joke for running what may have been an underage brothel. Apparently, Bill Clinton, allegedly flew there numerous times, as well as Hillary. And they had, I'm getting this from the net, but they had 40 women that came forward talking about that they were held against their will and basically underage girls at the time, as young as 13 years old, having sex with, who knows whom. And of course, all that is horrific, but we've heard rumors about this for years. The whole idea of the pedophilia stuff has been going on, even to the point where had Hillary been elected president, maybe they would have lowered the age. I've heard this. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. It's so hard to vet things on the net because I just got fooled. Not really fooled, but we did a redaction on this one photo that came in to us. But the guy who gave it to us believed it was real and believed what his father had told him. So he's not at fault. We called him George. He's a straight shooter. He's a good guy. But all that to say this, that we've heard that if Hillary had gotten elected, that they would have tried to change the law of consensual sex and made it much lower. They're also trying to get the whole man-boy NAMBLA thing to where it's okay to have homosexual love between a full-grown man and an underage boy type of thing. So we are, and I'm actually going to blog about this, or maybe even do a show on Acceleration Radio or PPS Report. What we are looking at, what we are looking at is a class of cultures. It's a culture war. And I'm not the first person to make this assessment. Bill O'Reilly did it years ago, but other people have made the assessment. Tucker Carlson, for instance, on Fox News. And really, what underlines it, which most people don't talk about, and I'm going to talk about it probably tomorrow on PPS Report, that Christian America is still intact, regardless of what President Obama says. This is still a Christian nation. And although we are in a post-Christian world, and a lot of the college campuses now that started out a couple hundred years ago, I'm thinking of Harvard, of course, as staunchly Christian schools where the Bible was held in high esteem, all that's been eroded. Instead of what we have is secular humanism. So this test of world views is being played out in the halls of power in this country, and they are between secular humanism and Christianity. That's really what's going on. The secular humanists, and many of the Democrats are secular humanists, and of course that's one step away from socialism, because that becomes their religion, that becomes their choice. Well, we have to fix everything. The government needs to fix everything, which is completely different from Christianity. I mean, that's why America was founded, because of Judeo-Christian principles. And look, there's flaws here, but just think about this. That's why everybody's trying to get into the country. Hello, they're not trying to get into Russia. Okay, no one's storming to get into Russia, but they're trying to get here, and they're trying to get here for a reason, because of what we enjoy. But what we enjoy hails from a Judeo-Christian worldview, and all that's being undermined and undercut and revamped by people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, by the way, is a secular humanist, no doubt about it, and wants her version of socialism with the new Green Deal. So the Democrats recently voted against a bill that would have allowed for the sanctity of life for a child, a baby that survived the abortion process. And as I graphically demonstrated on my YouTube channel, which was immediately demonetized, yada, 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 that is a child. And the Democrats are not upholding life in any form. So in other words, you go in for an abortion and your child is born alive, you can kill it. That's infanticide. And as Christians, we are abhorred with that, because it's utterly barbaric. But when you're a secular humanist, that's also a Darwinist, where there are no absolutes, there is no God, there's only ethical situations, moral relativism, then all this just is okay. Yeah, let's kill the baby. So once you cross that Rubicon, then is it, well, up to 6 months, well, a year, well, 2 years, what the heck? Maybe the kid becomes autistic, and at 3, I'll kill him. Well, who cares, right? And that's what we're against. It is a clash of cultures. It's a culture war. And the churches, unfortunately, are not addressing it for the most part. And the church needs to coalesce, because the secular humanists already have coalesced in the halls of Washington and in pretty much every university in America that's not an openly Christian university. So, when you go to places like Berkeley, and we see that conservative thought is not welcome there. In fact, people like Ann Coulter or myself would be called Nazis. Get out of Berkeley, Nazi scum. That's what we would be called. Why? Because we have moral absolutes. Why? Because we believe in the God of the Bible. Why? Because we believe in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and through his blood we are saved and redeemed. Why? Because we don't believe in moral relativism. We believe in the biblical prophetic narrative, which is a guidebook of the supernatural, and also is a guide by which we live our lives. So we don't believe in moral relativism, but the secular humanists do. And this is why all of these things like pedophilia, underage sex, NAMBLA, they're all on the table. Because once the church is gone in the rapture, then all this stuff will be brought to the forefront. Hallelujah, those pesky Christians are finally out of here. Now we can do with what we please. And this all goes back to the Darwinian paradigm, when Darwinism became the prevailing worldview and cut Christianity off at the knees. Then it was like, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And that's what human beings have wanted all along. They don't like the God of the Bible. They don't like to realize that certain things are sinful. And so they want to be able to go about and do their sin to the fullest extent without being prosecuted.
Well, LA, it's crazy what's happening, and I mean, not to tee up off the title of your show, but it's all accelerating. It's like just getting worse and worse and worse. And you see Bernie Sanders now openly running on the ticket as the Democratic Socialist Party leader. Now, other than what you've already mentioned about the dangers of socialism, what do you really feel the danger of our country falling into a socialist environment really truly is?
Well, we basically had quasi-socialism under Obama, where we heard things like, if you can keep your plan, if you have your plan, you can keep your plan, which turned out to be completely bogus. I couldn't keep my plan, and millions of Americans all of a sudden found themselves without any type of health care. And then, and its cost is going to be lower, and the care is going to be better. No, not so fast, citizen. The care is egregiously to the side of being defective on every level, and the cost is going through the roof. So once again, we were lied to, and the fact that the Americans don't push back, and the fact that the goofy Republicans can't seem to coalesce and get anything together is just unconscionable on the Republican Party. But I digress. Socialism is evil. It never works. It never will work. And in California, they're already trying. Certain towns, certain places are already committed to giving people $500 a month, no questions asked. Well, where's that $500 a month going to come from? It's going to be coming from people like you and myself, Mike, who actually work for a living, who pay their taxes, onerous taxes in California, over 13%, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad I moved from the Golden State, which is a beautiful state, but they ruined it. The Democrats in 30 years have ruined that state, and it's becoming more and more socialistic even as we speak. But it doesn't work. All one needs to do is look at what's happening in Venezuela to come to an understanding that socialism never has worked in any form, in any way, anywhere. People point to Sweden, but Sweden, it's a whole different deal over there. The population is not what we have in this country, and cradle to grave care by the government is the last thing I want or would support in any way, shape, or form. Thomas Jefferson said it best: a government is best that governs least. And that's exactly what I hold to, a smaller government. But government has ballooned to the point where we now have the deep state, and the deep state is what is in control of our government. There's make no mistake about it. And the fact, if I can kind of segue into another topic, which we hadn't planned to talk about, but here's something to think about: that the fact that McCabe and Rosenstein and Comey and others of his ilk and Brennan, they were conspiring to overthrow the will of the people. That is a coup d'etat. And the fact that those wascally Republicans have not done anything about it shows you how spineless and out of step the Republican Party really is. Jordan is in there punching away at this whole nonsensical kabuki theater that we're seeing played out with Cohen in Congress right now. But really what should be happening is the fact that the FISA warrant was obtained illegally, the fact that the dossier was created and is completely paid for by Hillary Rodham Clinton and the DNC, the fact that Debbie Wasserman Schultz and other people fed the questions before the debates to Hillary, and she skates through all this. I mean, there should be a congressional investigation immediately of just how far and how deep the treason goes, and still goes on, because we were called a basket full of deplorables by Hillary: racist, homophobic, sexist, Islamophobic, xenophobic. And that's many of us right-wing Christians. It's exactly what we are. But we're not racists, okay? We're not sexist. And we want closed borders. That doesn't mean we're xenophobic. That means we need closed borders. How many people have not had someone in rehab? I mean, I could go on because these are the topics, but the country is at the verge of a civil war. And many of us look at what's happening in Washington and going, I want to uncouple myself from this political system, which is utterly corrupt in every way. And it is, it's utterly corrupt in every way. And the fact that you have someone like McCabe running around on a book tour, stating publicly that they were looking at trying to get rid of Trump with the 25th Amendment. That's a soft coup. That's a coup d'etat. It's against the will of the people. And the fact that the Republicans won't push back on this just makes me want to throw up my hands and give up.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That brings us to a spot here where what is the solution, and what do we as Christians do, the remnant body? What do we do now to try and take ground back?
Well, unless the pastors stand up and start talking about the abortion holocaust, about infanticide, about the open borders, about the fact that we don't have term limits in this country. So you get people like Nancy Pelosi, who's been there forever, or Mitch McConnell, or any of his other people. We need term limits badly, desperately need term limits to stop the gridlock in Washington. That's the first thing. Term limits would change everything. Make it illegal for the lobbyists to lobby. That would change a whole lot of what's going on. So congressmen wouldn't be lining their pockets after they leave office. Congress should have to be able to keep the same health plan that they force on everybody else. They should be not able to give themselves a raise every 10 minutes, and on it goes. So, I mean, there's some real problems there. But if the churches would coalesce, things could change. But the church sleeps and dithers, and many of the pastors won't deal with any of this stuff at all. So, what can I tell you, Mike? But that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a difference. You're trying to make a difference. The people who hear the Watchmen at least arm their people. My hope is that the Lord returns soon. But in the meantime, I'm told to destroy the works of the devil. And that's what I do full time. In fact, our mission statement is to expose the deception of the prince of the power of the air and to herald the return of the King, Jesus. That is our mission statement.
Well, amen, amen to that, La. It is necessary for people to get up and be active and do things. Now, as you mentioned, you're settling in your new undisclosed location somewhere in the state of Oklahoma, and you're getting ready to come to hear the Watchmen. And you got a lot of other conferences on your plate this year, so you're going to be out there doing a lot of stuff. Do you have a new film coming out, or is there something about the mounds that you're working on?
Yeah, it is the Mound Builders, mysterious. The first one's called Mysterious Mound Builders, and the second one is we're drilling into advanced mathematics, which are embedded in these sites, which are not part of the Native American culture. I mean, they just don't have it. It's the advanced trigonometry, which is what we see in these mounds, and it begs the question, who's actually doing it? So this is the overarching theme of the series is called On the Trail of a Nephilim. The first episode is called The Mysterious Mound Builders. I'm almost done the second series, and then we go right to the third. Our goal is to get 3 or 4 films out a year, and that's what we're trying to do.
Wow, your plate is full. What an amazing journey. What a great job you're doing. God bless you for all of that. We're looking forward to seeing you in Dallas here in just a month now. So you and I will.
Yeah.
We can walk outside. If it's 50 degrees, we're going to think it's a heat wave. So that's a good thing for us. So we're looking forward to seeing you there and being with you and your lovely wife Peggy. I want to tell you thank you for coming on the show today. God bless you for all the work that you're doing, and we'll see you 30 days, Dallas, Texas.
You got it. God bless you, and looking forward to seeing all the folks who hear the Watchmen.
Thanks so much. Well, listen, folks, that's going to wrap it up today on this version of the Watchman's Report. God bless each and every one of you listening. And as we always say, don't ever forget, there's nothing you can't do with Jesus in your heart except nothing at all. Have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.